What's going on, everybody?
Hello, everyone.
It's Strengthening Love and Sex with Dr. Stacy Spencer, and
Rhonda Spencer.
we are back, and we are excited about what we're going to be talking about tonight. Baby, this is a delicate subject.
It is.
But it's real,
It's
right?
very real.
It's very real, and we're going to be transparent. We're going to be naked and unashamed with y'all because we want y'all to be blessed. We want y'all to have a lot of passion and bliss in your marriage. And sometimes that requires pulling the sheets back and talking about what we need to talk about.
Absolutely.
So tonight we're going to be talking about, drum roll please, don't fake it till you make it. What are you talking about? Y'all know what I'm talking about. So many people in marriage, in relationships, they want to have a great sex life.
Right.
But we've had to bump our way through, no pun intended, bump and grind. We've had to bump our way through trying to figure out how to please one another. And we'll be married tonight. We have been married 30 years.
30 years.
Give God some,
We're still together.
you still love me, girl?
I still love you.
Nah. 30 years we've been married, and baby, it's been a wonderful journey, hasn't it?
It has been a wonderful journey with many ups and downs.
Many ups and downs. Probably more ups than downs.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I was reading Michelle Obama's, I saw an interview where she's talking about her new book, and she's like, for 10 years she didn't like Barack. And she said, but she'll take those 20 good years over the 10 that were not so good and challenging. She loves her husband, but she admits that there was 10 years where they were trying to figure it out.
Right.
And I think that's very brave to say that. And speaking of that, we can say that there's been times where we were faking it.
Talk about it.
What we're talking about tonight, I read an article the other day, babe, talking about how many women feel like they have to fake an orgasm. They have to fake it till they make it. And I was asking my wife to be just brutally honest. We were, what we say, courageously honest.
Courageously honest.
We had a question. You had a book of questions, like 40,000 questions. We were driving 3 hours to Nashville, and my wife was asking me. And we talked about has she ever faked an orgasm? And what was your answer?
Yes, I have.
What? I was so broken, devastated.
Bless your heart. But you all right. Well, let me tell you the reason why. Well, very early in our marriage, I didn't think I could have an orgasm. Well, no, let's back up. I really didn't know what an orgasm was all about. I mean, we were married very young.
How young were we?
We were 23 and 24, but we had dated from college. Then after college, got married. So my sexual experience was very limited. But I faked it because I didn't want to bruise your ego or mine. That's what I thought I was supposed to do as a wife, and I was trying to keep the peace.
Did you know what an orgasm was?
To be honest, no.
And how long did it take you? How long did you fake it?
Just a couple years.
Just a couple years?
A couple years until I developed a language that we could talk about things. When we became more comfortable to talk about our sexuality and what we desired and what we wanted, that is when I guess the lotus blossom just opened up even more, and I was able to start experiencing real orgasms.
So you had an orgasm before you had your first son?
Yes.
Okay. I thought you had told me it was longer, but 2 years, that's still a long time.
Right.
But I'm glad we figured it out.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
What we want to talk about is not just us. In our research, we discovered there's 5 reasons why women fake an orgasm. And we might throw in there that some men fake it too.
Yes, men do. When I read the article, men do fake
Men
it
do
as well.
too. But we're gonna start out talking about
Okay.
women. And so, babe, what is the first reason? You just touched on it when you talked about not wanting to hurt my ego. What's the first reason that women feel like they have to fake an orgasm?
Well, one of the most common reasons women fake an orgasm is to pretty much just please their partner. You know, society often portrays, orgasm as the ultimate indicator of sexual gratification. But some women may fake it because they don't want to hurt their partner's ego.
How does it let me say this as a man. I think sometimes my wife is right that men can have a fragile ego because we want to have this sexual prowess. We want to please men. We get rewarded when we feel like we please you all. And we want to, is it good? Was it good? Yeah, baby, it was good. But the indicator that it's good is when we can hear you moaning, or when your body begins to shake, knowing that you've reached that orgasm. It's like, yes, I did it. And so rather than bruising that ego, some women have opted to fake the orgasm.
Right. Because moaning is not a good indicator that you're about to orgasm. There are multiple types of orgasms, and some experience all of them, but the moaning is not a good indicator.
What's a good indicator?
A good indicator is when you can feel your wife's body contracting, the spasms, the rigidness of her body, her legs. It's a total body. When I experience a total body orgasm, I feel it all over my body, and I can't control what my body does.
So what is a good way for a woman to be able to tell her husband that I didn't reach my climax without hurting his feelings?
Oh, timing is everything. You don't want to tell him in the act unless you've already have experienced your own sexual language where you can communicate openly with your husband and say, I didn't experience an orgasm. I need you to go a little longer. Or I need you to stay in this spot, or let's try a different technique, a different position. But the communication is key there.
Did y'all know that the majority of women, I think it's close to 90%, cannot reach orgasm by penetration?
It's actually 75% of all women cannot reach orgasm by intercourse alone.
75%?
75%.
Wow. That's a big percentage. And so what we have to concentrate on, men, is that we have to make sure that we're intentional about making sure she gets hers first.
Right.
And that may require stimulation, direct stimulation to the clitoris. The clitoris is only role is for pleasure. It has 1,000 nerve endings in that gland. It's a horseshoe-shaped organ that is in the vagina lips, and it needs to be given attention so that the woman can be aroused and has a better chance of reaching orgasm, because the majority of women do not reach orgasm through penetration. And a lot of men have been miseducated through pornography to think that women are going to moan and scream and squirt and convulse and do all these kind of things. But there's a lot of love and nurture and foreplay and attention and intentionality and erotic consciousness that is necessary for a woman to reach orgasm. What's the second reason, babe, that women fake orgasm?
The second reason would be the lack of communication.
What do you mean?
And lack of communication, again, is not being able to properly communicate to your husband of what's going on or what's not going on. And that could be fear of the wife not feeling like she's enough, that she hasn't been able to reach orgasm, or that she's still just trying to please her husband without even thinking of herself. But that lack of communication on talking it out is crucial.
What are they afraid? What are women afraid of?
We're afraid that some women will feel like they may be, not seen as abnormal. Because society will want to tell us, oh, you're supposed to be very orgasmic. Well, there's 10 to 15% of women that have never experienced an orgasm in their life. And that's not because they don't want to, it's because they can't. And so very early on, if an orgasm is not experienced, there may be some cognitive dissonance on, is there something wrong with me as to why I can't have this very pleasurable experience.
So that pleasurable experience, the first time you experienced it, did you make up in your mind, I'm not going to fake it anymore? This is too good to miss. What kind of conversation did you have with yourself when you first experienced that?
like, oh my God, this is what I've been missing. But even with that, me personally, every time we have sex, I don't need to have an orgasm. It's nice and then there's times like I'm like, okay, you gotta put the work in tonight or today. But there are times that I don't require that.
We have to, as men, we have to be open for feedback.
Yeah.
And be open for communication. I want a marriage where you can continuously be courageously honest and say, babe, can you go slower? Or that's too hard, or stay right there. I saw something on TikTok the other day. There was an African woman, and she says, men, when we tell you we are about to reach orgasm, we want you to keep the pace. Do not change. And I know you've told me, you've communicated with me, babe, stay right there. And as a man, what we tend to do when we know that we're doing a good job, we want to accelerate or pick up the pace, but there is a rhythm to it.
There's definitely a rhythm.
And when your wife communicates to you to stay right there, she wants you to keep that pace. And the best thing you can say when she communicates is thank you. Don't get bruised. Don't get your ego bruised. Just listen. Be open. Have a teachable spirit. And it's a wonderful thing when we can talk to each other and ask for what we want. You should not have to fake it till you make it. Now, I know as a man, I'm going to sneak this in, there have been a few times where I have faked an orgasm.
What?
A few times, because I'm like, whew, I'm getting tired.
That is another reason why.
I'm getting tired. I've gone pretty far, and I don't think it's going to happen for me. And so I have just kind of like, yeah, I'm done. And then my wife, being Inspector Gadget, she has her way of saying, are you sure you?
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, what do you mean? But for the most part, we have not faked it because we've learned the art of communicating. We might say stuff like, I'm just not there tonight. Or like my wife said earlier, I don't need that tonight.
Right.
And orgasm is not always about ejaculation. Like you said, there's breathing, there's breath orgasms, there's full body orgasms. And sometimes just being able to connect is pleasurable enough that you don't have to reach that ultimate orgasm. But the main thing is not faking it till you make it. Right. The main thing is being courageously honest about what you need to reach that level, or if you even want one. What's the third reason?
The third reason is the insecurity or a woman's self-esteem, because we're social media, television, some of our peers, we all may suffer from some type of body image, a negative body image of ourselves. And what I mean by social media is telling us how we're supposed to, what they think we're supposed to look like. We're supposed to all be walking around here looking like an ant. Big booty, small waist, big breasts. And a natural woman is not shaped like that. And if you're not careful and love your own self, then you can internalize some of that negative imagery that is going on right now in the social media. But women may have problems with their own self-esteem, and so they may fake it with their spouse or their significant other partner because they want it to end quickly. They may be tired, or they want the sexual act to end quicker than the male probably does. And the indication of it ending first is a woman going ahead and having her orgasm, and the man thinking in his mind, oh, she's had hers, now let me go ahead and finish.
So how does that tie into self-esteem again?
When you have a negative body image of yourself, and you don't want to, if you may not be naked, all the way naked, and you don't want to be in that position very long.
And so to get it over with, you're
Right.
like, let me go ahead and act like he's just knocking it out the box and moan and groan and convulse, and then he'll get up off me.
Correct. That's it.
But you know what? I would say this to the ladies, to the women that are listening. If you really want your husband to finish faster, don't fake it. What you need to do is make sure, first of all, that you can give a wholehearted consent to the lovemaking. If you're not feeling it that night, just say you're not feeling it. It's a cuddle night. But once you can give a full-hearted, yes, baby, I want you tonight. I want you to touch me in this way. I want you to do this. And your husband's doing good. You've enjoyed it, but you're ready for it to wind up. Let me give you a secret. Here's how you make him finish. You say, don't finish yet. Tell him, no, baby, don't come yet. I'm not ready. It feels so great. And for some reason, that plays with the mind of the man, like, oh my gosh, I'm pleasing my wife. I need to last longer, and before you know it, you're done. So you don't have to fake it. Tell them, like, it feels great, and I don't want you to reach climax yet. But so we talked about not hurting the ego. We talked about communication,
Right.
the fear of communication.
Right.
We talked about poor self-esteem, low self-esteem concerning the body. And I want to pick back up on that pornography thing. You know, when I was a young man, probably 12 years old, before I was a teenager, I was introduced to pornography too early. And it interrupted my thought process around sexuality. And a lot of young men have learned about sexuality, unfortunately, through pornography. And pornography really is detrimental to your love life if you have this over dependency on porn as a stimulus, because the reality is porn stars are actors.
Yes.
And so a lot of that moaning and groaning and hollering and all of that stuff, they've edited it, it's been cut. It's not realistic to think that your love life is going to mirror that, and you don't want it to mirror that, because you want true intimacy, you want true connection. And when it is that you have that comparison in your head, it robs you and your spouse of the passion and the bliss that you could experience in your relationship. Do you agree?
I agree, and that bond that you experience together, because you're separating yourself from your spouse and you're thinking of these other images that are not real.
What's the fourth reason that women fake orgasms?
Time constraints and pressure.
What does that mean?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so time constraints could be that we're all living, so many. Our lives are so busy, whether it's children, it's work, multiple jobs, and sometimes it's just we're tired.
So what would you say to the women with all these busy schedules? They're trying to bring home the bacon fried up in the pan and never let him forget that he's her man. How do you do all of that and still find time to be in a mindset where you can receive an orgasm? What would you say to the women?
Well, ladies, again, I say communicate. If tonight is a cuddle night, say that to your husband, right away, or let him know, hey, I'm very tired, or schedule sex, but have that open communication with your husband to let him know that this is how I'm feeling tonight. And then sometimes, even when we are tired, that's what we will need. Cuddling may turn into something else outside of just, holding one another.
How do you get the busyness, the noise out of your head so you can be able to be present for that orgasm?
One, breathing and delegating. Like if there's some things on my to-do list or your to-do list, what is important that I need my husband to help me with today so that I could be more present with him as we have our alone time. Scheduling time, as if you have small children, who's responsible for bath time, story time. Keep that schedule and give them a bedtime, and give yourself a realistic bedtime where you're going to come and spend time with each other.
Yeah. And I would say this to the men, that if you really want to put her in the right headspace, make sure you clear out space, take stuff off her list. I don't like washing dishes. I feel like I do my part, making sure the grass is cut, making sure the bills are paid. But realistically, when I see that the night is getting late and there's some food out on the stove and there's some dishes in the sink, and I see that look in her eye like, buddy, that window is closing. You might not get none tonight. I roll up my sleeves and I go in the kitchen and I wash dishes and I clean up because I want to make room so you won't have all this static in your head like I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do that. And so I don't want her to fake it. I want her to be erotically present. I want her to be relaxed. And that may mean that I might rub her feet. I might give her a massage. Make sure that she has a nice window of time where she's totally relaxed so she can enjoy. The best love making we have is when my wife is relaxed. Somebody needs to say amen. When it is that your wife is relaxed and she's in a good headspace, some of the best sex we've had is when we go out of town.
Oh, absolutely.
There's no schedule. There's nobody calling our name. It's just us kicking it and having a good time. I can't wait till the end of the month when we can go to our little week-long vacation to celebrate anniversary and birthdays, because that's the best time. Because why? She doesn't have to clean up the house, you know, and my wife is such a great homemaker. I have to remind her, we have maids at the hotel to make up the bed. You ain't got to clean up nothing. Let's get your beach bag. Let's go down to the beach. Let me put some oil all over your body and let's go have a good time. And so making sure there's time, her list is empty. And then the last reason, sweetheart, why women can't, why they fake it till they make it is what?
The misconception of the female orgasm.
All right.
Or orgasm.
The misconception of the female orgasm.
Yeah. There's a misconception that all women should have orgasms during, their sexual encounter, but that's not true. Like we mentioned before, there's about the 10 to 15% of women that have never orgasmed and will not be able to orgasm. And then the 75% that don't orgasm through intercourse alone. So thinking that women should orgasm every time there is intercourse is false, because so many other factors play into that, putting the period at the end of the sentence.
I think men, our goal has to be different. We're goal oriented. When we play basketball, I want to shoot a three or fadeaway jumper, or, I want to make sure that I outscore my opponent. If it's football, you're trying to get in the end zone. When it comes to sex, men have in their mind, I need to give my wife an orgasm. Orgasm should not be the goal.
No.
The goal should be pleasure, pleasing one another.
And connecting to
one another. Sex is a spiritual act. It is an act whereby two people connect. There's healing that takes place in sex. There's communication that takes place in sex. There's connection that takes place in sex. It's not just about making a touchdown.
Right.
The connection is the goal. And sometimes just holding each other. Bruce Lee used to talk about the art of fighting without fighting. Sometimes sex is not penetration.
Right.
Good sex is getting into each other's mind, because watch this, the biggest sex organ you have is your brain. And we had such a wonderful time driving to Nashville last week, and my wife was talking to me. She didn't go to sleep and let me drive. She said, I got a book, 40,000 questions, and pick a category. We had politics and science and childhood and sex and love and romance. And we talked and talked and talked. And it was so refreshing to get into your head. Because for me, as a man, I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know what's on your heart. And the same with you. You get great joy when I give you more detail.
Absolutely.
But sex is all about connecting. And when we're able to communicate, when we're able to connect, that's when the orgasms are even greater. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. Now, every individual relationship is as unique as a snowflake, but being sure that you're communicating with your husband, with your wife, is key, because faking an orgasm is it's not right. It's not fun. It's deceptive. Just point blank period. It's very deceptive.
And we've been married 30 years.
Yeah.
There's no reason to fake it. You know, I always tell married couples, if we're going to be together forever, man, we got to learn how to have some courageous conversations and to be able to talk about whatever we need to talk about. If I'm not doing it right, tell me how you want it.
But babe, that's not. If you're not there, start with the communication language, where your sexual language with your spouse. You and I are very unique. We talk about everything, but some couples may not feel comfortable at this point to talk about, hey, this is what I desire. So start opening the door by communicating and just talking about what you desire as an individual.
So what's a starter kit look like for somebody who's uncomfortable talking about sex? What is a communicating in a one-on-one sexual conversation look like? What do you mean communicate about it if you're not used to communicating about it? What does that look like?
Open-ended questions. When we make love, what is it that pleases you? How can I please you better? If you could talk to me about anything, give me the very simplest thing you want to talk to me about sex. So starting very ground level and then building on that will help each person become more comfortable and courageous in their communication, where the next time this conversation comes up or after they've made love and they're like, I'm going to tell her about this. You know, she did great. Oh, she was on me for more than 2 seconds. You know, those kind of things help build that communication up for your sexual language.
And remember the game we introduced a couple of podcasts ago. There's a game that you can play with each other. 3 questions. Was it? No, 3 minutes. 3 minute question. How would you like me to touch you for 3 minutes?
Right.
You can ask your spouse, how would you like for me to touch you for 3 minutes? My wife may say, I want you to scratch my head for 3 minutes. And I'm like, okay. She likes me to scratch her scalp.
Don't start if you're not going to finish.
And I'll scratch her scalp for 3 minutes. And then the next question is what?
How would you like for me to touch you for 3 minutes?
And then I'll say, I want you, I want you.
That's what I do with.
Say hello to my little friend. And so each person gets to ask for what they want.
Right.
And for 3 minutes. And the whole thing is to know who it's for and to communicate. So hopefully tonight, y'all got it, right? We just wanted to stop by and have a little conversation about how do we not fake it. If you're going to stay married and be in a mutually satisfying sexual relationship, you've got to ask for what you want. You've got to be courageously honest. You don't have to fake it. Orgasm is not the ultimate goal, but it's a wonderful thing, ain't it?
It is.
It's there's so many medical benefits to a good orgasm. There's an oxytocin release. There's some pain healing elements that come through your body that heal, that block pain. So watch this, fellas. Endorphins. Thank you. I was looking for the right word. There's some endorphins that are released when you have an orgasm that can help with headaches. So the next time your wife says, babe, I got a headache, tell her I got some for that headache. I'm going to help you with that headache. But listen, I hope that you all have enjoyed this podcast. It's been fun talking about this tonight because it's a needed subject. And it's so taboo, especially with Christian folk, with church folk, that, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're talking about orgasm. Why not? Read the whole Song of Songs. It's in there. God gave the woman a clitoris. He gave nerve endings all over our body. We have erogenous zones from the crown of our head to the bottom of our feet. God has wired us to enjoy sex, and there's no reason why anybody listening should have to fake it to make it. You don't have to do it. Listen, we told you that we're celebrating 30 years of marriage on tonight, and happy anniversary, baby.
Thank you.
And Rhonda and I wanted to give you all something on our anniversary. So the first 30 couples, seriously dating or married couples, the first 30 couples that go and register on Eventbrite. You can go to our website, drstacylspencer.com, and register, or simply go to Eventbrite and look for, was it the seven things that can help to strengthen marriage? Go there and register on Eventbrite. It's free. It's a free masterclass on September the 21st at 7 p.m. We're going to do a free master's class, and we're going to share about the things we learned in our 30 years of marriage that help to strengthen our marriage. We've had some ups, some downs, some successes, some challenges, but through it all, God has given us a great marriage. I love my wife. She's my best friend. We travel the world together. We made three beautiful sons together. We've been all around the globe together, and the best is yet to come, and yet we want to share some of our learnings with you. So if you want to be a part of that, simply go to Eventbrite and register. And the first 30 couples that register, we got a special gift. And I'm going to tell you what it is. We got a special gift for you. So go on and register for that. It's coming up soon. Anything else you want to say?
No, we're a happy anniversary to you as well.
Thank you.
But we're so excited that you decided to tune in with us on tonight. And if by chance anything that we're saying to you has blessed you and your spouse, and you want to get more one-on-one time with Stacy and I, we have a group that's called Eden Circle. And if you're interested, please go to theedencircle.com, theedencircle.com. Check us out there and join our group.
And please subscribe to our podcast. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on all of the podcast platforms, so you can get it audibly. So when you're walking or working out, you can listen in your earphones. You can share it with your friends and family. And we're on YouTube. If you want to see us, you can go and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Dr. Stacy L. Spencer's YouTube channel. Listen, we love you guys. We appreciate y'all stopping in. And if this helped you out, share it with 3 people. Share it with 3 people. Don't be greedy. Give to the needy. Somebody else needs to know they don't have to fake it to make it. Until next time, we love you guys, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.